Does your room look like a graveyard of half-finished projects? A guitar in the corner, a half-coded website, a sudden urge to learn jujitsu? If you feel shame for not specializing, you are not alone. Society calls you a dilettante. But what if that is actually a superpower? Because here is what nobody tells you about the person who cannot seem to stick to just one thing. They are not scattered, they are not undisciplined, and they are definitely not failing at something everyone else has figured out. Their brain is wired differently, and psychology has a very specific and very empowering explanation for why. Today, we are talking about the 5 rare personality traits that people with too many hobbies almost always share. And by the end of this video, you are going to see yourself in a completely different light. Trait number 1. You have an exceptionally high curiosity drive. Most people hear something interesting and think, that sounds cool. People like you hear something interesting and immediately think, I need to learn everything about that right now. Psychology identifies curiosity as one of the most powerful and most rare cognitive traits a person can possess. Research from the University of California found that people with high curiosity drives show significantly greater neural activity in the regions associated with learning and reward anticipation. Your brain is not distracted. It is hungry. Every new hobby is not evidence of inconsistency. It is evidence of a mind that finds genuine meaning in the act of discovery itself. The guitar in the corner is not a failure. It is proof that you once heard something beautiful and your brain said, I want to understand how that works. That impulse is extraordinary. Most people never feel it at all. Trait number 2. You are wired for cross-domain thinking. Here is something the specialists never talk about. When you spend 3 months learning photography, and then pick up coding, and then start studying psychology, you are not wasting time. You are building a mental library that most people will never have access to. Research in cognitive psychology shows that people who develop knowledge across multiple unrelated fields develop something called analogical reasoning, the ability to solve problems in one domain by applying insights from a completely different one. Steve Jobs famously said that calligraphy classes he took, seemingly at random, later became the foundation for the beautiful typography that made Apple products iconic. He could not have connected those dots looking forward, only backwards. Your scattered interests are not random. They are the raw material for a kind of thinking that the world increasingly calls creativity, and increasingly cannot manufacture on demand. Trait number 3. You have an unusually high tolerance for beginning. This one surprises people. Most people are terrified of being a beginner. The vulnerability of not knowing what you are doing, of looking unskilled, of failing in front of others. It stops most people from ever starting anything new after a certain age. But you start things constantly. You pick up the paintbrush even though you have never painted. You sign up for the class even though everyone else has been doing it for years. You download the software even though the learning curve looks impossible. Psychology calls this a growth orientation, the specific belief that ability is developed rather than fixed, that the discomfort of beginning is worth what comes after it. People with too many hobbies are not bad at finishing. They are extraordinarily good at starting. And in a world where most people are paralyzed by the fear of looking incompetent, the person who begins again and again and again possesses something genuinely rare. Trait number 4. You process the world through experience rather than observation. There are 2 kinds of people. Those who read about something and feel satisfied, and those who read about something and immediately need to try it themselves. People with many hobbies almost universally belong to the second category. Psychology describes this as experiential processing, the specific cognitive style where understanding requires doing, where knowledge only becomes real through direct personal engagement with it. This is why you cannot just watch a cooking video. You have to cook. You cannot just read about meditation. You have to sit down and try it. You cannot just appreciate music from the audience. At some point, you have to pick up the instrument. This is not impulsiveness. This is the specific learning architecture of a mind that takes the world seriously enough to want to inhabit it, rather than simply observe it from a safe distance. Trait number 5. You are building something most people cannot see yet. Here is the part that matters most. When you look at your list of abandoned hobbies and half-finished projects, you probably feel a vague sense of failure, like you should have committed more, finished more, specialized more. But research on what is called the M-shaped skill profile, a concept gaining serious traction in psychology and career research, suggests that the future belongs not to the specialist who knows everything about one thing, but to the generalist who knows enough about many things to connect them in ways that specialists cannot. The person who has spent time learning music and coding and psychology and photography and writing does not have a scattered resume. They have a rare combination of perspectives that produces the specific kind of thinking that the world most desperately needs. Your many hobbies are not your weakness. They are your compound interest. Each one is quietly adding to a portfolio of perspective that will eventually become something no one else in the room can offer. So the next time someone asks you why you cannot just pick one thing and stick with it, you can smile, because you already know the answer. You are not someone who cannot commit. You are someone whose mind is too curious, too hungry, too wired for discovery to be satisfied by a single corner of a world this interesting. And that is not a flaw. That is one of the rarest things a person can be. If this video made you feel seen today, subscribe to this channel, because every single week we come here to talk about the hidden strengths inside the people who have always felt a little different, a little harder to explain, a little too much for a world that keeps telling them to simplify. You belong here. I will see you in the next one.